So, it was announced last night that we will be getting, to the shock of no one, Saw 11. Now, as you guys probably know, Saw X was one of my favorite movies of 2023. I thoroughly enjoyed Saw X. It was, and I'm not the biggest Saw guy, but then I watched the movie, I really loved it, and now I'm excited for, I'm really excited for Saw 11. Yeah, this will probably be another, like, set in between, like, set somewhere during or before, like, Saw 1 and 2, or wherever the timeline is going to be convoluted. And I thought to myself, and this was a video I've been thinking about for a while since Saw X, but I never really got to do a video on it, because, well, the reason being is because, well, the movie had been out, and I was afraid I was going to spoil it. That was, sorry, I had a little brain fart right there. I wanted to do this video for a while, but now after the announcement for Saw 11, I'm like, yeah, okay, now I can actually talk about it, because in order for my pitch for a Saw movie to work, I needed to spoil some things for Saw X. That was kind of why I kind of abstained from it. So anyway, if you guys are interested, let's get started with the video. So, my pitch for a movie would actually be set after the events of Saw the Final Chapter, Saw 7. This would probably be in the timeline of, like, Jigsaw and, Spiral. This is in that future time. It's, like, after those movies. This movie would be set in the present day, long after John Kramer is dead. But this does have connection to Saw X, because this movie will not take place. My pitch for this movie would be, this movie doesn't take place in America, this movie takes place in Mexico. This movie would focus on one character from Saw X who has grown up since the events of Saw X, and that's Carlos. Carlos was a young boy who John met, and he and Amanda bonded with during the events of Saw X. In fact, John called him a little warrior. So this would follow the story of Carlos. And basically what it is that Carlos, after meeting John, grew up. His family was still poor, but John would send money to him anonymously, like whatever money he could get, and also had Amanda like watch over him. And as Carlos grew up, the more he would see like how the world has been like dominated by corrupt governments, cartels, drugs, all of that, and he doesn't know at this point, like at the beginning of this movie, it would be like, yeah, he doesn't know that John is Saw. He just knows John's a good man. He protected me from, in his head, he didn't understand all of it. All he knew is that John was punishing bad people, and he was trying to, like, he basically saved him. Like, why would I condemn the man who saved me from dying? But as it would go on, like, I would have it that, like, yeah, it's revealed that, yeah, John Kramer was Saw and all of that, but in this time, when he's older, he's lost his family to either drugs and, he's lost them to drugs, poverty, all of that, and he's been on his own for a while. He's just been kind of, like, working, he's basically been working in Mexico as, like, just a shopkeeper, and during an event of like cartel members coming in and wrecking the store, and also killing a friend of his at the store, this is where Carlos gets ready to enact and become the Jigsaw of Mexico. See, I always thought it would be a cool idea for the Saw franchise to go international. I always thought it would be kind of a neat idea that John, like, have the idea that John's ideals would spread across the nation, like not just the nation but globally, like the whole idea that John's ideology, because that's the thing with ideology, is that it goes everywhere, and it can, like, look how many, look at the world right now with ideologies. They spread like wildfire. Like a perfect example of this is in an episode of Star Trek where the Kahless clone happens, and Gowron says, you can't fight an idea. You can't kill it. You can't destroy it. It spreads like a fucking virus. And here, Carlos would be, making a Hispanic version of his version of Jigsaw. Carlos's Jigsaw persona would be much different. His wouldn't use the Billy puppet. He would use like a variation of it, but instead of like the typical Billy the Puppet mask, it would have like a Incan mask, or like a, you know, Mesoamerican mask of Quetzalcoatlus or one of the other like Mayan gods. Probably I would say like Camazotz, the god of the underworld, and a lot of his like a lot of his toys, not toys, but his weapons, or even weapons, traps, there's the word. A lot of his traps would be used in the vein of like old torture devices from the Mesoamerican, like old Mesoamerica. So that's what I kind of imagine it, where it'd be like kind of the same, like a lot of like John's ideology, and he would be going after like this cartel. He would be going after, he'd just be going after drug deals, all of that, and also like on the outside, Carlos would have this moment of, I think, like he would have this moment where he's kind of contemplating, like, you know, the problem with a lot of John's disciples is that they got away from the message. They just used it. You know, Hoffman, even Amanda, didn't see it, like lost their way. I'm like he would go straight up like as John's one, like he would call himself one of John's unofficial disciples. A lot of this cast I would want this cast to be strictly Hispanic. I would that's the cat. We're setting this in Mexico. This is a story about the Hispanic culture. A lot of that would be that. I would have, like, because I know Hollywood studios would want at least one or two Caucasian characters. I would have at least one, like maybe an FBI agent who is called in to assist, because these are like the John Kramer the Jigsaw killings. So I'd probably, like, if the studio made it, I'd have to bring in like an FBI agent to like be an assistant to help track them down. As for who could play adult Carlos, my pick is Gabriel Luna, who most of you guys would know best as the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He just has this ability to be like a physical actor as much as he is like it. He has he's got a nice balance of like, I can be a great actor and a great physical actor too. There's a difference. And I really want this adult Carlos. And you may be thinking, wait, that's too old. Like, there's a 20-year gap, guys. There's like between Saw X and the present time. Like, that movie's supposed to take place in the early 2000s, or even like 1999. So yeah, it would make sense that you would have an older like Carlos can grow up and be like that. And I really want Carlos to be like, yeah, I will go down there, and if the trap doesn't work, I'll go down there and beat your ass myself. Yeah. I'd also love to have it at the end of the film that he's been working with Lawrence Gordon from the first movie, which we would find out that like John wanted Gordon in Saw the Final Chapter to be the real heir apparent of his work, which would be really cool to really go back on that plot thread and really have it that like Gordon and Carlos have been like in contact with each other, and like they're Carlos is learning from Gordon the way he couldn't learn from John. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much my pitch for a Saw movie. You guys tell me in the comments below, what would your pitch for a Saw movie be? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time, the Multiverse.